What happens after we die? Is death truly an end, or is it perhaps a doorway to something far greater than our earthly minds can comprehend? Imagine standing at the edge of eternity, clutching a scroll etched with spells so powerful they could guide your soul through realms unseen, past trials unimaginable, and into a paradise beyond time itself. This was not just a fanciful notion for the ancient Egyptians. It was their lived reality, a sacred truth inscribed in one of humanity's most enigmatic texts. The Book of the Dead. Compiled over thousands of years by priests and scribes, this mystical guidebook was no ordinary scripture. It wasn't meant to sit on temple shelves gathering dust. It was buried alongside the deceased, wrapped within layers of linen, placed near the heart or mouth of the mummified body. Why? Because its words were keys that unlocked the secrets of immortality. Each spell, hymn, and incantation served as a lifeline, ensuring the departed would rise again, navigate perilous underworlds, and emerge victorious in the field of reeds where eternal peace awaited. Today, we'll journey together into the depths of the Book of the Dead. We'll uncover how this ancient text reveals profound insights about life, death, and what lies beyond. From spells that reanimate the dead to hymns that transform the soul into divine beings, from navigating treacherous underworld landscapes to facing the ultimate judgment before Osiris, we will explore every facet of this extraordinary document. But make no mistake, this isn't merely an academic exercise. As we delve deeper, you'll discover practical wisdom hidden within these ancient teachings, wisdom that speaks directly to the human condition today. How do we prepare ourselves not only for physical death, but also for the symbolic deaths we face daily? The loss of identity, relationships, dreams. What tools might help us navigate chaos and find balance amid life's storms? So take a deep breath, open your mind, and step forward. Together, let us unlock the mysteries of the afterlife. Are you ready? Imagine standing before a vast cosmic temple, its walls shimmering with golden light. Within this sacred space, you are no longer merely human. You become something more. A falcon soaring across the heavens, a lotus blooming on still waters, a serpent coiled in wisdom's embrace. These transformations are not mere fantasies. They are acts of survival, strategies encoded to empower the soul as it journeys through realms both wondrous and treacherous. This section of the text is rich with hymns and praises dedicated to the gods who govern these mysterious domains. Ra, the sun god, whose eternal cycle mirrors our own passage from dawn to dusk, life to death, and rebirth. Osiris, the lord of the underworld, who himself rose from betrayal and dismemberment to rule over eternity. Thoth, the ibis-headed scribe of divine knowledge, who holds the keys to magic and language. To honor them is not just an act of devotion, it is a plea for their protection, guidance, and favor. The ancient Egyptians understood that to traverse the afterlife successfully, one must align oneself with powers far greater than mortal comprehension. But why transformation? Why would the soul need to shift shapes like water flowing into different vessels? Consider this analogy. If the afterlife were a forest filled with predators, would you not wish to grow wings to escape danger or blend into shadows to avoid detection? Each form carries symbolic meaning and practical purpose. As a falcon, the soul gains vision and swiftness, able to outpace enemies. As a serpent, it embodies regeneration and cunning, qualities essential for surviving trials ahead. And as a lotus, it reflects purity rising above murky depths, a metaphor for spiritual awakening. Yet even the most skillful transformations cannot shield the soul entirely. Chaos lurks at every turn, embodied by Apophis, the great serpent of destruction who seeks to devour Ra's solar bark each night. Harmful spirits, malevolent beings, and hidden traps abound in the Duat, the shadowy underworld where the journey unfolds. Thus, protective spells weave a shield around the traveler, invoking divine names and wielding sacred formulas. One such spell declares, "I am the flame that burns but does not consume," asserting the soul's invincibility against forces that seek to extinguish it. These prayers and incantations remind us of an important truth. Transformation without protection leaves us vulnerable. In our modern lives, how often do we attempt change, whether personal growth, career shifts, or emotional healing, only to be thwarted by fear, doubt, or external obstacles? Like the ancients, we too must combine inner metamorphosis with steadfast resilience. Perhaps there is wisdom here for all of us, to embrace new forms while arming ourselves with courage and clarity. As we continue deeper, remember this lesson. Life and the afterlife is a dance between becoming and enduring. The Duat, the underworld of ancient Egyptian cosmology, is no ordinary realm. It is a labyrinthine expanse, a twilight dimension where time bends, shadows whisper secrets, and every step carries the weight of eternity. To journey through the Duat is to walk a razor's edge between illumination and annihilation, guided only by the spells. These are not mere words. They are maps etched in starlight, compasses attuned to celestial rhythms, and passwords whispered to gatekeepers who guard the thresholds of existence. Picture yourself descending into this shadowy domain. The air hums with an otherworldly energy as you approach the first of 12 gates, each guarded by beings whose forms defy description, part human, part animal, part essence of the cosmos itself. To pass, you must know their names, not just any name, but their true names, the ones that hold dominion over their very being. In one spell, the soul declares boldly, "I know thee, gatekeeper. Thy name is He who opens the way." Naming them strips away their power to bar entry, allowing safe passage. This act reveals a profound truth. Knowledge is sovereignty. To name something is to understand it, to claim authority over it. What might this mean for us today? How often do we stumble through life's challenges because we fail to see the true nature of what confronts us? Beyond the gates lie landscapes both wondrous and perilous. Fields of reeds sway beneath skies painted in hues never seen on earth. Rivers flow upward, defying gravity, while islands float like fragments of shattered dreams. Yet danger lurks everywhere. Invisible snares designed to ensnare the unwary, pits that swallow the unprepared, and illusions crafted to deceive even the most resolute traveler. Spells within this section provide precise instructions for avoiding these traps. One incantation instructs the soul to recite, "I am pure. I have washed myself in the lake of truth," ensuring immunity from corruption. Another warns against lingering too long near deceptive lights that mimic stars, lest they lead astray into endless wandering. Central to navigating the Duat is the solar bark of Ra, the great ship that ferries the sun god through the underworld each night. To board this vessel is to align oneself with the rhythm of creation itself, a cycle of death and rebirth mirrored in the daily rise and fall of the sun. Spells here teach the soul how to call upon Ra's protection, invoking his fiery radiance to banish darkness and chaos. Imagine standing aboard the bark, feeling its golden hull pulse with divine energy as it cuts through the void, carrying you toward dawn. This imagery speaks to a universal longing, to be carried forward by forces greater than ourselves when faced with overwhelming uncertainty. What can we learn from this intricate navigation of the Duat? Life, much like the Underworld, presents us with gates we must unlock, terrains we must traverse, and obstacles we must overcome. Do we approach our challenges armed with self-awareness and clarity, or do we falter because we lack the tools to name and face them? Perhaps the ancient Egyptians were teaching us more than survival. They were showing us how to thrive amidst complexity. As we prepare to delve further, ask yourself, are you ready to face judgment and seek moral purity? For ahead lies the ultimate test, the weighing of the heart. Imagine standing before a tribunal of gods, your fate hanging in the balance. Before you rests a scale, its pans delicately poised, one holding your heart, the essence of your being, and the other bearing the feather of Ma'at, the goddess of truth, order, and cosmic harmony. This is the weighing of the heart ceremony, the centerpiece of the Book of the Dead, where the soul undergoes the ultimate trial, to be judged not by power, wealth, or status, but by the weight of its deeds. If your heart tips the scales heavier than the feather, it will be devoured by Amit, the monstrous beast with the head of a crocodile, the body of a lion, and the hindquarters of a hippopotamus, a fate worse than death itself. But if your heart balances evenly, you are deemed pure, worthy of eternal life. This moment encapsulates the moral philosophy at the core of ancient Egyptian spirituality. It was believed that every action, thought, and word left an imprint on the soul, shaping its destiny beyond the grave. The Egyptians did not see morality as abstract. They saw it as tangible, measurable, an invisible ledger written into the very fabric of existence. To prepare for this judgment, the deceased recited spell 125, known as the Declaration of Innocence, or negative confession. In this spell, the soul proclaims a series of denials. I have not stolen. I have not lied. I have not caused harm. I have not polluted the river. Each statement serves both as a ritual affirmation and a mirror reflecting the ethical ideals upheld by their society. But let us pause here and consider the depth of this practice. While these declarations may seem formulaic, they carry profound implications. They remind us that accountability does not end with mortality, it extends into eternity. The Egyptians understood something we often forget. Our actions ripple outward, influencing not only others, but also the state of our own souls. When we lie, cheat, or inflict pain, we burden ourselves with heaviness, making it harder to rise toward higher states of being. Conversely, when we live with integrity, compassion, and truth, we lighten our hearts, preparing them for transcendence. What makes this section particularly fascinating is how it blends personal responsibility with divine grace. The spells do not guarantee salvation. They offer guidance, tools to help the soul navigate the complexities of judgment. For instance, one incantation instructs the soul to declare, "My heart is my witness," asserting that inner truth aligns with external conduct. Another calls upon Thoth, the god of wisdom, to intercede on behalf of the deceased, ensuring fairness during the weighing process. This duality reflects a universal tension. While we must take ownership of our choices, there remains space for mercy, for forgiveness, for the possibility of redemption. Now let's bridge this ancient wisdom to our modern lives. How often do we ignore the subtle imbalances within ourselves, dismissing small acts of dishonesty, cruelty, or neglect as inconsequential? Yet, like grains of sand accumulating on a scale, these moments add up, tipping us away from harmony. What would happen if we approached each day with the awareness that every choice writes upon our hearts? Would we speak kinder words, act with greater care, live more authentically? As we move forward, remember this lesson. Purity of heart is not about perfection. It is about striving toward alignment with truth. Ahead lies the reward for those who pass the test. The promise of entering the field of reeds, a paradise mirroring the beauty and abundance of earthly life. But first, we must ask ourselves, are we prepared to stand before the scales unflinchingly, knowing that what we have sown will determine what we reap? What lies beyond judgment? For those whose hearts balance evenly against the feather of Ma'at, the gates of paradise swing open, revealing a realm of unimaginable beauty and serenity, the field of reeds. This is no ordinary afterlife. It is a reflection of everything cherished in earthly existence, yet perfected and eternal. Imagine fields stretching endlessly under skies painted with perpetual sunsets, crops that grow without toil, rivers teeming with fish, and cool breezes carrying the scent of lotus blossoms. It is here that the soul finds its ultimate reward, reunited with loved ones who have gone before, basking in the protection of Osiris, the god of resurrection and ruler of this blessed land. But how does one gain access to such a paradise? The Book of the Dead provides spells specifically designed to usher the worthy soul into this divine domain. One spell instructs the traveler to declare, "I am justified, I belong among the sacred ones," a bold affirmation of their purity and right to enter. Another invokes the names of celestial beings who guard the thresholds, ensuring safe passage. These incantations remind us that even triumph requires humility. The soul must still seek permission, proving its alignment with cosmic order. Once inside, life in the field of reeds mirrors the rhythms of earthly existence, but without its burdens. There is work, but only as an act of joyous creation rather than drudgery. The deceased tend to lush gardens, harvest golden grain, and share meals beneath starlit canopies. Yet they are never alone. Family members, friends, and ancestors gather together, forming communities bound by love and shared eternity. Even pets and beloved animals accompany the departed, completing the tapestry of connection that defines human experience. Osiris presides over this realm, his presence symbolizing both authority and compassion. As the archetypal figure of resurrection, he embodies hope, the promise that death is not an end, but a transformation. His green skin represents growth, renewal, and fertility, qualities infused into every corner of the field of reeds. To dwell under his protection is to live in harmony with the cycles of nature, where decay gives way to rebirth and endings become beginnings. Let us pause to reflect on what this vision offers us today. While few of us may believe in literal fields of reeds awaiting us after death, the symbolism resonates deeply. Paradise, whether conceived as a physical place or a state of mind, arises from balance, between effort and ease, solitude and connection, justice and mercy. The ancient Egyptians understood that true fulfillment comes not from escaping hardship entirely, but from transcending it through integrity and purpose. Their depiction of the afterlife invites us to cultivate these qualities now, creating microcosms of paradise within our own lives. As we transition to explore daily life in the afterlife, including spells for sustenance, labor, and leisure, consider this question. If you could design your ideal eternity, what would it look like? Would it be filled with abundance, peace, and companionship? Or would it simply echo the joys you already cherish, elevated to perfection? Perhaps the field of reeds is less about geography and more about aspiration, an invitation to imagine what it means to truly thrive. Paradise, as envisioned by the ancient Egyptians, was not merely a static realm of eternal bliss. It was alive with activity, purpose, and even the comforts of daily existence. The field of reeds was no barren utopia. It pulsed with the rhythms of life, offering the soul everything needed to flourish. But how did the deceased ensure they could partake fully in this abundant afterlife? Once again, the Book of the Dead provides answers, weaving spells into its sacred fabric that address even the most mundane aspects of existence: food, drink, clothing, tools, all tailored for eternity. Imagine arriving in paradise only to find yourself hungry, thirsty, or without the means to sustain yourself. Such concerns might seem trivial compared to the grandeur of immortality, yet the Egyptians recognized their importance. Spell 154, for instance, ensures an endless supply of bread and beer, the staples of Egyptian sustenance, by invoking divine forces to manifest nourishment whenever needed. Another spell guarantees fresh linen garments, so the soul may always appear radiant and dignified before the gods. These details reveal a profound understanding. True abundance encompasses both spiritual fulfillment and material comfort. Even in eternity, the body, whether physical or ethereal, requires care. But what about labor? In the earthly realm, work often brought hardship and exhaustion, yet in the field of reeds, labor transforms into an act of joy rather than toil. To spare the soul from performing manual tasks, another ingenious feature of the afterlife comes into play: Shabti figures. These small statuettes, often carved from wood or stone and inscribed with magical spells, served as servants in the afterlife. When called upon, they sprang to life, ready to plow fields, carry water, or complete any chore required. One spell commands them thus: "O Shabti, if I am summoned to do work, you shall answer in my stead." With these loyal helpers at their side, the deceased were free to enjoy leisure and contemplation, unburdened by drudgery. This emphasis on practicality speaks volumes about the Egyptian worldview. They did not shy away from addressing the realities of existence, even in death. Instead, they infused every aspect of life and afterlife with meaning and intention. Consider the symbolism here. Just as the Shabti acted as intermediaries between duty and freedom, we too can create systems in our lives that allow us to focus on what truly matters. What Shabtis might you employ today? Are there habits, tools, or support networks that could lighten your load, enabling you to pursue higher goals? Moreover, the spells for receiving sustenance remind us of a universal truth: gratitude amplifies abundance. By reciting incantations for food and drink, the soul acknowledged the divine source of all things, fostering a mindset of appreciation. Could modern life benefit from such rituals? Perhaps pausing to give thanks for the simplest pleasures, a meal, clean water, shelter, could shift our perspective, helping us see the extraordinary within the ordinary. As we prepare to journey further into the cosmological and mythic knowledge embedded in the Book of the Dead, let us reflect on this insight. Paradise is not found solely in escape from effort, but in the harmonious integration of necessity and delight. Whether through Shabtis or spells, the ancients sought to balance responsibility with joy, a lesson as relevant now as it was millennia ago. Are you ready to explore the deeper mysteries, the creation stories, celestial cycles, and secret names of deities that underpin this extraordinary text? To understand the universe is to glimpse the mind of the divine. This was the conviction of the ancient Egyptians, who saw creation not as a random event, but as a sacred unfolding orchestrated by gods whose names and deeds held immense power. In this section of the Book of the Dead, we encounter spells steeped in cosmological wisdom, texts that reveal the origins of existence, the nature of the gods, and the intricate cycles governing life, death, and rebirth. These are not mere stories. They are keys unlocking the architecture of reality itself. At the heart of these teachings lies the act of naming. The Egyptians believed that knowing the true name of a deity granted access to their essence and authority. For instance, one spell invokes Ra by his secret name, Khepera, which means the one who becomes. By uttering this name, the soul aligns itself with the creative force that brings light out of darkness, form out of chaos. Another incantation calls upon Thoth, using an esoteric title, Scribe of the Hidden Word, acknowledging his role as keeper of celestial knowledge. Each name acts as a thread in the cosmic web, connecting the mortal soul to forces far greater than itself. These texts also recount the creation myths central to Egyptian theology. One such myth describes how Atum, the first god, emerged from the primordial waters of Nun, a vast, formless void, and through sheer willpower brought forth Shu, air, and Tefnut, moisture. From them sprang Geb, earth, and Nut, sky, whose union gave rise to Osiris, Isis, Seth, and Nephthys, the family drama at the core of Egyptian mythology. This narrative is more than origin lore. It reflects humanity's eternal quest to make sense of order arising from chaos, unity emerging from division. What can we learn from this today? Perhaps that even in moments of uncertainty or upheaval, there exists potential for renewal if we trust in the process of becoming. Celestial cycles feature prominently in these spells as well. The Egyptians observed the heavens with meticulous care, recognizing patterns that mirrored their understanding of immortality. The sun's daily journey across the sky, its descent into the underworld each night, and its triumphant return at dawn, symbolized the cycle of death and rebirth. Spells here instruct the soul to join Ra on his solar bark, ensuring participation in this eternal rhythm. To ride alongside the sun god is to affirm one's place within the grand design, to declare, I am part of something infinite. But why does this matter? Why devote so much energy to unraveling the mysteries of stars, gods, and creation? Because knowledge is transformation. Understanding the cosmos allows the soul to see itself as both participant and co-creator in the unfolding drama of existence. Just as the ancients sought alignment with celestial forces, we too can seek harmony with the rhythms of nature and the unseen currents shaping our lives. Consider the phases of your own journey, times of growth, decline, stillness, and resurgence. Are these not echoes of the same cycles that govern the universe? This section invites us to embrace mystery while seeking clarity. It reminds us that wisdom is not static. It evolves, deepens, expands. As we prepare to explore the final empowerments and protections offered by the Book of the Dead, ask yourself, how might uncovering the secrets of the cosmos reshape your perspective on life and death? And what hidden truths await discovery within you? As the journey through the Book of the Dead nears its culmination, we arrive at the most sacred and transformative spells, those designed to secure the soul's ultimate destiny. These final incantations are not merely safeguards. They are acts of cosmic empowerment, ensuring that the deceased does not merely survive eternity, but thrives within it. Here, the soul transcends all limitations, becoming one with the divine forces that govern creation itself. It is here that the promise of rebirth, unity with Ra, and eternal protection finds its fullest expression. Imagine standing on the threshold of infinite possibility. You have passed through gates, navigated treacherous landscapes, faced judgment, and entered paradise. Yet the work is not yet complete. For the ancient Egyptians, death was not an end point. It was a metamorphosis, a process of continual ascent toward greater states of being. One spell declares boldly, "I am a star in the belly of Nut," affirming the soul's transformation into celestial light, free to traverse the heavens alongside the gods. Another proclaims, "I unite with Ra in his rising," signaling the soul's integration into the eternal cycle of the sun god's journey. To become a star or merge with Ra is to shed mortality entirely, achieving a state of pure luminosity and immortality. But what of the body left behind? The ancient Egyptians understood that the physical form remained intrinsically linked to the soul's journey. Thus, these final spells also focus on protecting the tomb and preserving the mummified remains. Without this safeguard, the soul risked tethering itself to decay or desecration, jeopardizing its ability to ascend. Spells like the preservation of the body invoke divine guardians to ward off grave robbers, insects, and even the ravages of time. One incantation commands, "Let no hand defile what lies within. Let no spirit disturb my eternal rest." This dual emphasis on spiritual elevation and material preservation underscores the holistic nature of Egyptian beliefs. Both the seen and unseen realms must be honored for true balance to prevail. These protections extend beyond the individual to encompass the legacy of existence itself. By securing the integrity of the tomb, the ancients ensured that their memory, and thus their influence, would endure across generations. This speaks to a universal human desire, to leave something lasting, a testament to having lived. What might this teach us about our own lives? Are we building legacies of substance, or are we leaving behind fragments destined to crumble? Perhaps there is wisdom in aligning ourselves with forces greater than our fleeting egos, forces that will carry our essence forward long after we are gone. Yet the most profound aspect of these final spells lies in their promise of avoiding a second death. Unlike the first death, which marks the transition from life to the afterlife, the second death signifies the erasure of the soul itself, a fate worse than non-existence. Through these incantations, the soul secures its permanence, ensuring it cannot be forgotten or annihilated. One spell powerfully asserts, "I live forever, I die never." Such declarations resonate deeply with the human yearning for significance, for proof that our lives matter beyond the confines of mortality. Let us pause to reflect on this extraordinary vision of immortality. Whether literal or symbolic, the idea of uniting with the cosmos offers solace and inspiration. In modern terms, we might think of this as leaving a ripple effect, a contribution so meaningful that it continues to shape the world long after we depart. How might you embody this principle today? Could your actions, creations, or relationships serve as vessels for enduring impact? As we approach the conclusion of our exploration, remember this truth. The journey does not end with death. It begins anew. We are called to rise, transform, and shine, carrying forward the light entrusted to us. And so we come to the end of our journey through the Book of the Dead, but perhaps only the beginning of your own. What have we uncovered together? A guidebook for navigating not just the afterlife, but the very essence of existence itself. A tapestry woven with spells for transformation, prayers for protection, maps for navigation, and rituals for moral accountability. This ancient text is more than a relic of Egypt's past. It is a mirror reflecting timeless truths about life, death, and what lies beyond. We began by asking, what happens after we die? Through the wisdom of the Book of the Dead, we discovered that the answer depends less on geography and more on preparation, on how well we align ourselves with truth, balance, and purpose. Whether traversing the Duat, facing judgment before Osiris, or entering the field of reeds, every step demands courage, integrity, and awareness. These lessons transcend time and culture, speaking directly to the human condition. They remind us that the choices we make in this life shape the legacy we leave behind, and perhaps even the eternity we step into. But let us not confine these teachings to abstract philosophy. The practical techniques embedded within the spells offer tools we can adapt to our modern lives. When faced with challenges, why not recite an affirmation of strength, as if naming ourselves worthy before the gods? When overwhelmed by burdens, why not create our own shabtis, systems, or habits that lighten our load? And when seeking clarity, why not gaze at the stars, contemplating the cycles that connect us all? Perhaps the greatest gift of the Book of the Dead is its insistence that death is not an end, it is a doorway. The Egyptians saw eternity not as some distant realm, but as something accessible here and now, through acts of creation, alignment with cosmic rhythms, and the cultivation of moral purity. In their vision, immortality was not reserved for pharaohs alone. It was available to anyone willing to live consciously, authentically, and reverently. As you reflect on what you've learned, consider this final thought. How will you prepare for your own journey? Not just the one ahead in the afterlife, but the one unfolding each day in this life. Will you carry yourself with the same care and intentionality as those who inscribed their hopes and prayers onto papyrus thousands of years ago? Will you strive to leave behind a legacy of light, ensuring that your soul shines brightly even after you are gone? Take a moment to sit with these questions. Let them ripple through your mind like the Nile nourishing the fields of Egypt. For in exploring the mysteries of the Book of the Dead, we find not only answers about the ancients, but also insights into ourselves. Thank you for joining me on this odyssey into esoteric wisdom. If this exploration has sparked curiosity or inspired reflection, I invite you to delve deeper, to study further, meditate on its teachings, and perhaps integrate some of its practices into your daily life. After all, the journey of discovery never truly ends. If you enjoy our video, please like, subscribe, activate the notification and comment below. Until next time, may your path be illuminated, and may your heart remain ever pure.